Most people think being broke is an income problem. It is not. Some of the poorest financial decisions are made by people with decent salaries, stable jobs, and expensive degrees. They do not lose because they earn too little. They lose because they were trained to look rich instead of become free. One person gets a raise and upgrades their life. Another gets a raise and buys back their time. Same money, different future. That is why one person makes good income for 10 years and still feels trapped, while another quietly builds options leverage and breathing room. The gap is not intelligence. It is operating system. Morgan Housel talks about this in terms of behavior. Thomas Stanley wrote about it in The Millionaire Next Door. Even basic personal finance research keeps landing on the same ugly truth. Wealth is usually less about display and more about restraint. And restraint is invisible. That is why nobody claps for it. I'm about to show you the 3 mechanisms that keep smart people financially stuck. And by the end of this, you will understand why high income without financial discipline is just a nicer version of being broke. Chapter 1. Lifestyle inflation is a slow financial death. This is how it starts. You work hard. You finally earn more. And suddenly your needs multiply. Better apartment, better phone, better neighborhood, more delivery, nicer clothes, more subscriptions, weekend trips you deserve. Nothing feels reckless in isolation. That is why it works. Lifestyle inflation does not arrive looking dangerous. It arrives looking reasonable. You tell yourself, I can afford it now. Technically true, but that is not the right question. The right question is, does this purchase increase my freedom, or does it increase my monthly dependency? That is the whole game. Poor people think in price. Free people think in fixed costs. A more expensive watch is a one-time flex. A more expensive apartment is a recurring trap. One hits your bank account once. The other rewrites your entire life. This is why smart people get stuck. They optimize for visible rewards and ignore invisible obligations. Every raise becomes a new baseline. Every baseline becomes a new prison. And the really stupid part, the outside world starts rewarding you for it. You look successful. Your lifestyle becomes your identity. Now downgrading feels like failure, so you keep running. This is why people making good money still feel constant pressure, not because they are poor, because they built a life that requires non-stop performance to maintain. Income went up. Margin disappeared. That is not progress. That is dependency wearing nice shoes. The wealthy understand something most earners do not. The goal of money is not to impress people. The goal is to reduce coercion. If your lifestyle forces you to tolerate bad jobs, bad clients, bad cities, bad health, and bad relationships, then your money is not serving you. You are serving it. But here's the problem though. Even people who avoid lifestyle inflation still get trapped by the second mistake. And this one is more dangerous because it sounds responsible. Chapter 2. Saving is not the same as building wealth. A lot of people think they are financially disciplined because they do not spend recklessly. They save. They budget. They are careful. Good. Still not enough. Because being careful with money is not the same as making money productive. This is where smart salaried people get stuck for years. They stack cash. They feel safe. They avoid risk. And slowly inflation eats them alive. Now let's be clear. Emergency savings matter. Liquidity matters. Cash matters. But too much passive cash is not safety. It is decay. Your money should have a job. Some of it should protect you. Some of it should grow. Some of it should create future income. If all your money does is sit there, making you feel cautious and mature, you are not building wealth. You are just delaying decisions. And delayed financial decisions become expensive. Ramit Sethi pushes this idea hard. Spend extravagantly on what you love. Cut mercilessly on what you do not. And automate investing so your good intentions are not forced to fight your daily emotions. Because emotions are the real enemy here. People do not avoid investing because they are rational. They avoid it because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. And smart people are especially vulnerable to this because they are good at building elegant excuses. I'm waiting for the right market. I need to research more. I'll start when I earn a bit more. I want to be careful. Translation. I'm scared to begin, so I am disguising fear as prudence. That delay compounds. A person who starts imperfectly usually beats the person who waits beautifully. Not because they are smarter, because compounding rewards motion. This applies to index funds. This applies to business assets. This applies to skill stacking. This applies to anything that turns present effort into future leverage. Money that sits still comforts the present. Money that is deployed changes the future. And the future is where financial freedom lives. But here's the thing though. Even people who save and invest can stay stuck for decades if they miss the third principle. And this one changes everything. Chapter 3. Wealth is built by lowering fragility. Most people think wealth means having more. More money, more status, more stuff, more upside. Wrong. Real wealth often looks like lower fragility. You can survive job loss. You can say no to garbage opportunities. You can walk away from desperation. You are not one emergency away from panic. That is wealth. Nassim Taleb's work circles around this idea in different ways. Fragile systems break under stress. Robust systems survive it. Anti-fragile systems even improve through it. Now apply that to personal finance. If one lost paycheck ruins you fragile, if one medical bill destroys your plans fragile, if one market dip makes you emotional fragile, if one bad month forces debt fragile, you do not need a richer looking life. You need a less breakable one. That changes how you use money. You stop asking, what can I buy? You start asking, what risk does this remove? A 6-month emergency fund removes desperation. Low fixed costs remove pressure. Investments remove dependence on a single paycheck. Useful skills remove career vulnerability. Multiple income streams remove concentration risk. Now you are thinking correctly. The average person uses extra income to enlarge their life. The strategic person uses extra income to harden their foundation. That is why they sleep better. That is why they negotiate better. That is why they look calmer. Because they are. Smart broke people often have one fatal flaw. They build their image before they build resilience. They want the surface before the structure. Nice apartment before cash reserves. Luxury car before investments. Prestige spending before optionality. Consumption before protection. And then life does what life always does. It hits them. Layoff. Recession. Burnout. Family emergency. Health issue. Bad boss. Bad market timing. Now the whole thing shakes. Not because they were stupid. Because they optimized for appearance in a world that punishes fragility. That is the trap. Now let's put this together. If you want to stop being financially stuck, do 3 things. First, cap lifestyle inflation. Every raise should increase investing and flexibility before it upgrades comfort. Second, make your money productive. Keep enough cash to survive. Put the rest to work. Third, reduce fragility. Build a life that can absorb shocks without collapsing. That is what actual financial progress looks like. Not louder spending, not better branding, not looking expensive. Freedom. Freedom to leave. Freedom to wait. Freedom to choose. Freedom to breathe. And that is why 2 people can earn the same amount and live in completely different realities. One owns their income. The other rents their identity from it. That is the difference. Most people think money buys status. Sometimes it does. But the best use of money is much less dramatic than that. It buys time margin and the ability to act without fear. And that is a much bigger flex. Because broke is not always about income. Sometimes broke is what happens when your entire life depends on the next deposit.